How to stop complaining in 3 simple steps. Hi everyone, Dan back here from the Geek Physique for another video. Before we get into the video, make sure you like it, subscribe to the channel and ring the notification bell. Step 1, the moaning phase. This is where most people like to stay. Whether they admit it to themselves or not, if you're not sure you're in the moaning phase, when speaking with a friend about a problem in your life, really ask yourself, do you want them to provide you a solution or do you just want someone to moan to? Because there's a big difference. Now, there's nothing wrong with needing people to speak to, right? We all need someone, okay? You can't go at this thing called life on your own. And that goes for a lot of our problems in our lives. It's good to have some guidance and someone to bounce some thoughts around with. But it doesn't get away from the central point of this first step, which is most people are stuck in the moaning phase, whether they want to admit it to themselves or not. And what I just said to you is a really good test. And actually, you can flip it when you have a close friend or a family member. You can ask them in the right way, and you can reword this, and you can even do this with your partner. And guys who are watching this, your significant other, sometimes they just may want you to listen to them, okay? And that's a slightly separate thing. But for me, this is where you don't want to just have someone to confide in. Yes, I called it complaining or moaning to get you to click on the video. And for a lot of guys, especially who we help, they are stuck in a phase of just moaning about their problems. But going back to the point I wanted to make around when you have a female partner, they may just want someone to confide in. They may not want you to solve their problems, which is actually the direct opposite of this. Whereas for a lot of the guys that we speak to and that we work with, one of their central issues is that they just moan and complain about their problems. And you probably have some guy friends or some guys in your family that may be like this. And you can ask them, do you want a solution to your problem? Or would you just like to talk about it? Which is a bit nicer way of putting it, but you'll very quickly understand if that person actually wants to solve their issue or if they just want to talk about it. Like I said, you should do the same for yourself first and foremost, because who are we to judge others? We should first judge ourselves and take ownership of our own problems and practice this ethos if we actually want to overcome the problems in front of us and actually just stop being someone who moans and complains about the things in our lives and actually just does something about them. Step 2, open to solutions. This is where you actually want to solve the problem or problems in your lives and you're willing to put in the work to do it. You're receptive to hear suggestions from those you trust and are keen to work out how to actually overcome the problem that's in front of you. Finally, this is a crucial point. You realize the best way to actually stop moaning about the issues in your lives is by solving it. Right? Now, this seems very obvious, but again, it's that crucial step after step 2 to go, right, you want to actually solve the problem. Now you want to know how to solve the problem. Okay, and those are 2 separate things because a lot of people are stuck in that step 1, like I said before, where they don't even want to hear solutions. They just want someone to listen to them talk. But once you're open to solutions, of course, go to those that you confide in. Take some time to think about it on your own. Be cognizant of your behavior and what you're doing when it comes to health and fitness. Again, it seems like quite obvious for a lot of people, but eat less, move more if you want to lose fat. Now, of course, that's not so helpful for people who have very specific problems in their lives, but that's the bare basics that we all know that we need to do when we need to lose fat. So then you can draw from that the specific reasons why you cannot overcome this problem that you complain about. Like maybe you're complaining about how you feel in your clothes, right? And then you can draw from that. Maybe you're too busy with your work or whatever it is. But then you need to start dissecting the problem, thinking of the reasons why you have the problem, which should expose the solutions. And often they will be things that you can do or I could do as a person to overcome this problem and execute on the solution. Step 3 is to take action. It's pretty obvious, but it's one thing to actually have a plan or a solution for something, and it's another thing to actually execute on it. A lot of people can get stuck in a loop where they complete steps 1 and 2. So, okay, they've done all their complaining, they're open to hear about solutions, or maybe they spend a lot of time asking you, and I come across guys like this all the time that I speak to online, and they're asking me the same questions they were asking me 6 months ago. I can actually think of names that come to mind of people. And then they'll use excuses like low motivation or no time, and they never actually solve the problem. And this is where a lot of guys are that I speak to about their health and fitness, right? So on some level, they know what to do. Like I said in step 2, we all know the bare basics of what we need to do. But maybe the reasons for our problems, which would expose the real solutions, it's not as simple as move more and eat less. It could be that you're struggling with time, to find the time to move more, or to find the time to meal prep so you can have better options to then help you eat less, right? That is where you need to get into more of the specifics. But a lot of guys will then still use something like motivation, or they just won't execute, or they'll stop responding to me. Like, a lot of our clients, they absolutely smash it, but we have worked with some clients that will just drop off and stop responding, and I will hammer them with responses. I will be reviewing their plans. I'll be doing everything I need to as a coach, but they just won't respond. And that to me just shows a lack of willingness to actually want to solve the problem. Okay, and inevitably they will eventually find themselves back in step 1, which is eventually the problem is going to bother them enough where they'll start moaning again. All the people around them are going to start hearing about it. Then they're going to be finally open to solutions because the pain's going to be big enough. And then it's a real question to say, is the pain big enough to actually take action? Which brings me on to my 3 crucial things you need to take action, which is a deep enough why, accountability, and finally discipline. So the why comes from having enough pain to actually want to solve the problem and enough of a desire to solve it, because those are 2 different things. Pain is what happens if I don't do this, and the desire is what happens if I do this. And when you have both of them, your why is more powerful. Okay, and pain is usually a more powerful driver than pleasure or desire would be. But having both is going to give you your best chance to actually do the thing, especially when you don't feel like it. That brings me on to my other point, which is accountability. It really does help having a coach, or being part of a group, or joining a class, or doing whatever it needs to do, or finding a mentor, whatever it is, whether it's a business goal or a health goal. A lot of the good things that have been achieved in life generally were not just achieved by one person on their own for their entire life. At some point, they probably had a mentor or learnt from someone, or part of a group, or a part of a team, right? And that's where accountability, being part of something bigger than yourself, can really help tie down your why and can keep you on track, especially when you're not motivated. Now, the last point, again, very obvious, is discipline. You can have the best team, right? You can have the deepest why. Because I've had people tell me on calls, if I don't do something about my health, Dan, I won't be here anymore. And they still might drop off, okay? So even with all the accountability in the world and the best plan, you still need to put in the work. Me as a person, you as a person, you still have to put in the work to actually solve the problem. And that is what is going to ultimately stop you complaining about that problem. That's the best way to stop complaining, guys. We're always going to have times in our life where we may find ourselves moaning, right? And I'd like to think of myself as someone who doesn't do that, but nobody's perfect. There's always going to be a time that something bothers you. But there's that, I don't know if you've seen that diagram where it's like the diagram of worry, and it's like, if you can do something about it, then don't worry. If you can't do something about it, then why are you worrying, right? The point being, if you can do something about it, well, then you'll solve the problem and you won't have anything to worry about. And if you literally can't do anything about it, then why are you worrying about it anyway, right? It's very simple, but very helpful. And it basically reflects this video, which is, first of all, most people, and what actually sparked me to create this video was step one. I speak to so many people that just want to moan and complain about their issues, about their health, about the lack of time, about the fact they have kids and all of these things, right? I get it on videos. I get comments on videos and posts like, oh, you try and do a 12-hour shift, and they don't know how busy I am. They don't know the clients that we worked with and how much busier they probably are than even them, because I've worked with some people where I couldn't even believe they made the time for their goals and they got great results, and they were sole provider for their family. They had to come home and cook for their kids after 12, 14-hour days, and they still made time to work out 2 times a week, right? And that's all it takes, guys. If you need extra help with getting in shape in under 2 hours a week without a strict diet, without motivation, you can click the link in below to join our next free 7-day challenge. But guys, it's the moaning phase that really sparked this video, because so many people are stuck in it, and a lot of those people don't even want to get out of it, which is a real shame. And I've been there where I've had to check myself, or someone close to me has checked me and gone like, look, man, do you actually want to solve this problem? Same for me with other people that are close to me. Do you want to solve this problem, or do you just want to talk about it? A lot of time people just want to talk about it. Now, then it's up to you to go, do you want to waste your breath on that person? Do you want to, and some people might say, well, you should be there for that person. But then there's a real, I think, debate there to be had where you go, is that really what's best for that person? Should that person be given space to just constantly complain? Again, they shouldn't be left alone. Again, they should feel that they have someone there. But at a certain point, I think everyone should be faced with that question of, do you want to solve the problem or not? Then when you're open to that, to solving the problem, you want to hear solutions, you want to make a plan, right? You want to start looking at how you can actually solve it and go about doing that. And then step 3, ultimately, you have to do it. You have to execute. Otherwise, you're going to loop back around and you're going to be faced with the same problems, and you're probably going to end up moaning and complaining about them. So that's it, guys. That's how to solve how to stop complaining, how to stop moaning in 3 simple steps. There's probably going to be a video here or here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.